watching us carve ourselves a bone necklace, which is going to be quite cool. It's an experience that you can do around the West Coast, and while we're watching ourselves doing that, we're going to be talking about 100 New Zealand souvenirs for your friends and families, because it's time for you to redeem yourself. You spent several weeks or several months in beautiful New Zealand, and they're all very much jealous, envious, and a little bitter that you had such a good time. So therefore, you need to buy their love back by bringing them awesome souvenirs. Anyway, this introduction won't last too long because we've got 100 of them to go. To go through.
Yeah, makes me gulp too.
Yeah, I know, that's something insane. So we'll divide this video in chunks of 10s based on different themes, and so like that we give you plenty of ideas. So again, you guys can ask any of your questions about traveling in New Zealand. In the meantime, well, let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna begin this 100 list of souvenirs to bring back to your friends and family with a section about traditional Maori articraft and artifact and crafts. Sorry, articraft.
But I do like that merging of those two words.
All right, so here's 10 ideas of what you could bring. Laura, go for it.
Yeah, so first of all, you can bring back a pounamu or /greenstone /jade jewelry. So there's different names for this, but this is basically a precious stone that is green in colour, that is very sacred to the Maori culture, and what usually happens in the culture is that they sort of carve it into, say, necklace pendants or other types of jewelry and usually gift it to someone else. It's not usually carved for the person that has carved it, but for someone else. So yeah, that's a nice cultural gift, but also a really sort of pretty gift that you can give to someone.
Next on our list, and you know, within the theme of this video, what we're doing right here. So carve yourself a bone necklace. In many different places in New Zealand. So this is happening in the West Coast. What we're doing, you get to design your own little bone necklace. You get to carve it yourself, and you see us doing that throughout the whole video. It's pretty cool. We suggest you craft it for somebody else, and so like that you can tell them I made it myself, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, another one is wood carvings. So again, following sort of Maori inspired designs, you can get wooden carvings, such as ornaments to decorate your house. There's sort of weapons and other symbology there. So yeah, that's wooden carvings.
Okay, next up we have a Maori patu, which is basically a weapon. So obviously don't get a real artifact stolen from a museum or from a Maori tribe. Get a replica. But yeah, there's some really cool kind of small-ish hand weapons, which are usually super intricate with some amazing carving. So some great replicas are a fantastic gift to bring back. I bet heavy.
Yes. Another one sort of similar on the theme are tiki ornaments. So tiki carvings are symbolic in the Maori mythology, and it means protection.
No matter what the material of the jewelry is, a good koru design, which is this kind of a spiral design inspired by the koru plant, which is kind of like a fern, you know how they kind of spiral themselves out, is always a good idea too. Number 7, Laura.
So woven baskets is another one. So weaving is a sort of traditional craft in Maori culture. You can get all sorts of woven crafts such as bags, purses, baskets, that sort of thing.
All right, we're going to go probably the most expensive item on this list, which are the korowai, which are Maori cloaks. They are those beautiful cloaks with like feathers, and you probably wouldn't get one with the actual real kiwi feathers because that's forbidden. But like those kind of really big cloaks, they are heavy, they're fragile, they're expensive, but they are a fantastic gift for those who can afford them. And you get plenty of replicas available.
Another one is harakeke products, in other words, flax products. So flax is a really durable plant native to New Zealand, and it's used for weaving into all sorts of different goods, such as very sturdy mats, or even just something like a bookmark makes a really nice gift.
All right, and lastly we have the piu piu. I don't think I pronounced that properly, and I apologize for that. But yeah, so they are the traditional skirts that's mostly definitely like an emblem of like the dance identity of the Maori culture. They're also a fantastic idea for a souvenir, and that makes for really great display because they can kind of lay flat, so you can actually put them like in artwork and everything, which is absolutely awesome. All right, so that's it for our Maori product. We're going to move on to the next category soon, but not before asking Laura, what's her favorite?
My favorite out of all of those would have to be one of the punamu or jade jewelry. It's really quite easy to find in New Zealand. You'll find that in most gift stores, but you can also do an experience where you can carve it yourself. So there's lots of different options to, make the souvenir your own.
I agree. Something that you can carve yourself, so either punamu or bones, I think makes it extremely personal, and I think that would be my favorite too. So for our point 11 to 20, we're gonna go over 10 different kind of food or beverage souvenirs that you could bring back from New Zealand. Starting with Laura?
Manuka honey.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Manuka is a native plant to New Zealand, and the bees that use the pollen to make their honey, they are famous worldwide for the Manuka honey that they make, and which has all sorts of health benefits. You can get it in different strengths of how potent the Manuka feature of the honey is. So you can get this very easily from any New Zealand supermarket all the way to gift stores where they'll have more of the premium stuff. But I'm sure wherever you get it from, you will it will be enjoyed by whoever your gift receiver is.
All right, so the next one on the list, what I put, it's really hard to actually get a pavlova in New Zealand, despite the fact that it's a typical kind of New Zealand dessert. So what you can do is, as a souvenir, bring back a pavlova kit so you can make a pavlova back home. Yeah, I did find it funny. But yeah, there are some pavlova kits, so you literally have everything you need to make the pavlova. Just add like the fresh ingredients like eggs and milk and all that.
Yeah. Next up, we have New Zealand wine. So New Zealand has many different wine regions, from the first wine region in New Zealand, which was Hawke's Bay, to the largest wine region in New Zealand, which is Marlborough, famous for its Sauvignon Blanc. So yeah, New Zealand wine is always appreciated by that alcoholic in your family.
All right, so next up, so New Zealand is really famous for the kiwi fruit. You know, that's why New Zealanders are called kiwis. Despite the fact that kiwi, the fruit itself, is actually a variant of the Chinese gooseberry, which is not from New Zealand, it became an emblem of the country. So any kind of kiwi fruit products are always a good idea to bring back as souvenirs. So you can have like kiwi fruit jams, you have like chocolate infused or chocolates with bits of kiwi fruit in there, or any of those kind of there's kiwi fruit candies, those kind of things. It's always a cool souvenirs, and I don't know of anyone that will be upset if you bring them candies or chocolates back home.
Speaking of chocolate, a New Zealand branded chocolate, which is famous in New Zealand, and you'll see it everywhere from small convenience stores to large supermarkets, is Whittaker's chocolate. So it comes in many different sort of, not necessarily flavors, but different fillings. So you'll have like different sort of like nut ones, caramel ones, even some funky flavors that are different colors, that sort of thing. So yeah, Whittaker's chocolate, I mean, once you taste it yourself, you'll probably want to buy and bring home lots of different bars for mainly yourself, but probably share with friends and family as well. All
right, so something you're definitely going to want to share is Marmite. Marmite is a typical kind of horrible tasting food from New Zealand. It's something they use on toast in the morning. It's like yeast paste. It's if you have that one person that, you know, at the office that was trying to take some days off away from you or anything like that person, you want to rub it in even more. Be like, hey, you know what? Here's a peace offering. Here's a present I brought you back from New Zealand. You give them some Marmite. They can't deny that it's a typical New Zealand thing. It's just going to ruin their day.
Okay, next up we have cheese. So New Zealand is renowned for its very large dairy industry, and with dairy food, one of the main products is cheese. So there are lots of artisan cheese mongers around the country making delicious variations of cheese. So for that cheese lover in your life, get them some New Zealand cheese.
So Laura hinted at alcohol before with wine. New Zealand is home to over 300 different microbrewery, which I think makes us one of the most microbrewing country in the world when we look per capita, right? It's quite insane the amount of microbrewery we have. So yeah, we do really love our beers. So, you know, in case of a really nice beer that you do enjoy, there's some even on cans, which are even easier to take in planes because there's less risk of breaking. Could be a really cool idea.
In cans, wouldn't that like spray out everywhere when you
I think it would break less than on a glass bottle,
That's
right?
true.
Yeah, so I would choose cans over glass bottles.
Yeah, maybe just tell them open it over the sink.
Yeah, or just like, no, don't drink it right off the plane after the guys shake it. You can wait a day, you alcoholic.
Yeah, well, you never know. But yes,
Number 19,
that
Laura.
is a great idea. Nevertheless, hokey pokey ice cream flavouring. So, New Zealand's sort of icon of the ice cream flavourings is hokey pokey, which is essentially sort of honeycomb, so like, you know, like broken up bits of honeycomb mixed in with ice cream. So you can to replicate this at home, because you probably cannot really transfer ice cream on the plane, you can get some sort of breaking up some bits of honeycomb for yourself and add it to your favorite vanilla ice cream.
And there are some actual kits that you can just flavor, like, you know, either if you have your own ice cream maker or even vanilla ice cream, you can flavor it, which is quite cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, so something that I found, I have not tried it myself, but green-lipped mussels are a big thing in New Zealand. Obviously, carrying some fresh mussels in the plane may just make your clothes stink, but apparently green-lipped mussel conserved very well canned. So you can find canned New Zealand green-lipped mussel. Whoa, that's a word. And so yeah, you could bring that to the foodie, back home to the foodie in your family. Okay, now as Laura is taking a sip, I'm going to ask her to think about what is her favorite on this list before we wrap this section up.
Well, it doesn't take too much thinking. I think Whittaker's chocolate is a really good thing to bring back home. It's very easy to get. It travels very well. It's substantial in size, so I mean, it's not like it's too small. It's not like it's too big. It's usually just right, and most people do appreciate it as a gift.
Oh, I think I like the Marmite, just to like kind of like stab a little bit that person you don't like. I like it.
I wouldn't give people I don't like gifts.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. All right, so next up we'll move on and we'll talk about apparels and accessories. Okay, so next up on the list we have all apparels and accessories, things you can wear and adorn. Laura.
Yes, starting with some All Blacks rugby merchandise. So All Blacks is the national rugby team of New Zealand. They usually are the ones sort of putting New Zealand on the map on the international scene. People know them for performing the haka before they do any rugby games. So yeah, you can get All Blacks shirts, you can get socks, you can get just about anything with the All Blacks on.
Yeah, you can get anything with the All Blacks on.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 22 on our list, we have merino wool clothing. So merino wool is a really big thing in New Zealand. They usually are a little more luxurious kind of outdoor gears, and also kind of like soft, comfy things from back home. And so yeah, merino wool clothing from like New Zealand brands like Icebreakers, for example, are always a really good idea for a gift. Yeah, it's something that's definitely going to be used.
Yes. Next up on the list, we have swan dry bush shirts. So what you'll notice, a lot of so New Zealand has a very vast sort of farming community, also outdoors communities, people that are they need to be equipped for the ever-changing elements. And what you will typically see New Zealanders wearing outside of cities, of course, these sort of like checkered, either red or blue and black, big sort of, they're almost kind of like a hybrid of a poncho and a fleece. You'll know them when you see them. So a lot of people are wearing these, what they call, the main brand is Swan Dry. And they're kind of known for their durability, for sort of just being able to wear in any sort of weather scenario. They're nice and warm as well. So if you have somebody in your life that likes the outdoors or knows New Zealand themselves, and they'll be like, oh, that top's from New Zealand, then yeah, that's a great option to have. This one dry bush shirts.
And by the way, just a quick mention that if you want all of that in writing with more information and all of the spelling, all those fun words we're saying, there is a link in the description of this video for the full article. Alright, so as we continue carving our bone necklace over there, I'm moving on to number 24, which is jandals. So like sandals, like thongs, flip-flop is kind of like the jandal is the word for all that. Like in Kiwi, I mean, Kiwis wear that all the time. It's a word that is part of the Kiwiana culture, kinda. And so for that reason, there is plenty of jandals branded in New Zealand. So hey, why not?
Yeah, number 25 on this list is power shell jewelry. So power shells are basically they're obviously a seashell, and on the inside of them they have this sort of really lovely sort of bluish metallic-y looking pattern on the inside, and that is used in quite a lot of jewelry. It's also used to be used as ashtrays, but it's kind of been phased out a bit. So yeah, you'll find a lot of these jewelry. That's usually a cheaper option than going down the greenstone route for jewelry. So, you know, if you're on a budget but you still want to get some sort of jewelry items, then power shells are usually a good go-to.
Exactly. All right, next up, if you really want to bring a t-shirt to someone, the uninspired gift, make it a t-shirt with a kiwi bird on it. There are multiple brand or conservation efforts which are raising money through selling kiwi bird t-shirts. That's pretty cool. Or if you really want to go on the cheap, that's usually the bunch of t-shirts in like Souvenir store where you can get 5 for $20 or those kind of things. That's the kind of t-shirts you may want to go for.
Okay, next up on our list is possum wool products. Now, this is a bit of a weird one. It may be kind of cynical, but it's also, you know, also a good product, I guess, keeping you nice and warm. So possums are not native to New Zealand. They were introduced to New Zealand back in the day when somebody wanted
New Zealand possum New Zealand. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, they're introduced, and yeah, for a possum trade from Australia, but turns out that they sort of reproduced into crazy numbers, and turns out that they love chomping on New Zealand's vegetation, which has been like a really, there's sort of like, yeah, a really big sort of thing to sort of, what's the word? Destroy the sort of conservation efforts of New Zealand. So what happens is that they are now, once they have been sort of killed, because that's kind of what New Zealanders do to possums, not to everyone, they are turned into wool products. So you can get scarves, you can get all sorts, basically whatever wool sort of products you want, but they also have some kind of very weird products.
But we'll cover those ones later.
We'll cover those ones later.
All right, next up, so yeah, I talked about t-shirts with kiwi birds on it. If you want to get something a little bit more classy, there are some really cool Maori patterns akin to like the Maori tattoos, like tamokos and everything. So there are some artists that create fantastic apparels with stunning Maori artwork in there. So if you want to kind of spend the extra things and make that t-shirt a bit more luxurious, go for that.
Next up, we have sheepskin rugs. So as New Zealand is famous for its farming and also a lot of sheep, yes, sheepskin rugs are available in abundance. A nice soft addition to your home.
And lastly, we have, that's number 30 on the list. So we're finishing apparels with Kiwiana hats or t-shirts. So Kiwiana is kind of like an umbrella term for all that is New Zealand culture. So you can have like emblema of like pukekos, marmite, jandals, or basically like this round bottle of tomato sauce, those kind of things. So there is some like weird pattern, like sometimes Warhol kind of art or those kind of things. So yeah, that's also a very typical Kiwi thing. Laura, let's wrap up apparel with your take on what's your favorite.
Yeah, I would say merino wool clothing is a really
for
good
granny?
go-to. For granny, for that person in your life that gets the chills easily, they'll appreciate some nice, soft, well-made merino wool jumpers.
Oh, I agree.
On we move.
Okay, so the next section is going to take us from number 31 to number 30, and we're going to talk about home decor, things for your home. Laura, do you want to take it away?
Let's begin with item number 31, which is New Zealand landscape paintings. So, of course, around the whole country, there are many art galleries, also inspired by the beauty that is the New Zealand landscape. And yeah, if you want to get a more artistic form of this rather than the many photos you are bound to have taken, then yeah, there's plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, you photos sucks.
Yeah.
Get a landscape painting is what Laura's saying.
Yeah.
Isn't she lovely?
Let's move on.
All right, next up we have power shell ornaments. So we hinted at power shells before into like, sometimes they use that as ashtray, but we don't do that anymore. Jewelry, which is pretty cool. But power shell are so like cool and iridescent kind of looking that they can be turned into home ornaments, such as kind of like wall art and those kind of things. That's always a crowd pleaser.
Next up, we have kiwi bird figurines. So yeah, you can find these little icons of New Zealand in many different forms and materials.
Especially glass blown are pretty cool, yeah.
About to say, we've been to also a few like glass blowing studios, and making little cute kiwi birds out of those has been like where we've seen some really cool kiwi figurines. But yeah, you can find them in many different forms, obviously carvings, all that sort of good stuff. So they make a cute little present to bring home.
Next up is a very simple one. How about New Zealand map, like map wall art? So there are some obviously cooler looking map and everything as we replace in the cameras. We're getting a bit of help. When you do your own little necklace right here, as we can see on screen, sometimes you need a bit of help. Anyway, so yeah, so a map of New Zealand. So if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, don't worry, we got you covered later. But there are some like Lord of the Rings maps of New Zealand which are really cool. Or you can have like, bird species map of New Zealand, all those kind of things. So they're always cool souvenirs.
Next up, we have Maori patterned cushions. So in the Maori culture, there's lots of different, obviously, sort of tribal inspired patterns, that sort of thing, that are really cool. And you can get these in cushion cover form. So they usually fold up quite well and are easy to travel back home.
Next up we have wood clocks. So there are some wood clocks made out of kauri trees. So kauris are very iconic trees of New Zealand. They wouldn't be harvested especially for that. They'd be like older kind of stumps and all those kind of things. And yeah, they have very distinct wood grain, which is it's quite cool.
Yeah. Next up, we have glowworm art. So if you've been to the magical glowworm caves of perhaps Waitomo or in Te Anau,
you probably have learned that glowworms are very artistic and make a lot of art themselves, right?
Yes, they have little gift shops at the end of the cave. Basically getting art that's inspired by the beautiful...
Oh, so not made by glowworms.
Not made by glowworms, but the glowworms are sort of
then.
the muse of the art.
Okay.
So yeah, you can get lots of beautiful photography of the glowworms, lots of beautiful paintings, that sort of thing. So yeah, glowworm art.
Okay, if you are visiting the Weta workshop, you know that's a studio that does special effects for a lot of movies, including The Lord of the Rings. Well, you can get collectibles from there, from any of your favorite movies. We'll talk about Lord of the Rings Souvenirs soon, but any of the other movies that you may be a fan of, such as District 9, Narnia, Avatar, and pretty much everything in between. So there is a lot of options there for the geek in the family.
Yes. Next up, we have Lord of the Rings Souvenirs. So again, at Weta Workshop or at any other sort of Lord of the Rings tours, like for instance in Pio, the Harryfoot Waitomo tour. They have gift stores there, which are usually sort of like replicas of props that were used on the Lord of the Rings, that sort of thing.
And we'll give you 10 IDs of Lord of the Rings souvenirs later on in the video, so yeah, there's going to be plenty.
Awesome. And then finally...
And same thing, Hobbiton keepsake. So if you visit Hobbiton, get yourself one of the mugs from the Green Dragon Tavern. You've got to.
Yeah.
Laura, your favorite on the home decor front?
I think power shell ornaments do make a very nice sort of home decor feature. If you want to be inspired by power shell home decor, then when they reopen the Canterbury Museum in Christchurch, there is an entire exhibition dedicated to a Kiwi couple that basically covered their entire living room with power shells like everywhere. So if you need inspiration for ornaments,
this is not a live goal. It looks tacky as, but it's funny.
Then visit the Canterbury Museum once it has reopened in its original building in Christchurch.
Indeed. All right, we'll wrap that section from home decor. We'll move on to the next one very shortly. All right, so let's move on. We're not even halfway through there, and we're going to go 41 to 50. And the theme for this section is books, music, and other medias. Laura, take it away.
Interesting. So yeah, if you want to get children's books, there are plenty of New Zealand inspired children's books. There'll be ones featuring little cute kiwi birds. There'll be ones featuring the Maori culture. So yeah, lots of cool children's books in New Zealand.
If you have a history buff in the family, a New Zealand history book can be quite interesting. You can dive into the New Zealand's past. There is a lot of different major events that shaped our nation from the Maori roots to the modern day. So that may be a really cool gift.
Cookbooks. So if you want to bring a taste of New Zealand back to the kitchen, then there are New Zealand cookbooks to enjoy.
Also Marmite. All right. If you're into language, if you have a linguistic-minded family member or friend, how about a Maori language book? There are actually a lot of them, and some of them are actually quite well illustrated, and they make for like both a language book and a nice art piece.
Delightful. Next, we have photography books. So,
speaking of art
pieces, landscapes are usually the main feature of New Zealand photography books. So, enjoy those views.
Okay, so if you still believe in CDs, if they still exist by the time you watch these videos, because sometimes they do actually, there are some local artists in New Zealand. If you want to know more, we have like our famous people list of New Zealand somewhere on YouTube right here. So yeah, get yourself a New Zealand album of local music.
Yeah. Next up, we have documentaries. So you can either buy these in the traditional DVD form, or you can just put a compilation of New Zealand inspired New Zealand documentaries together and have yourself a nice little family get together watching all the New Zealand
kind of remember your trip with that. Okay, next up we have Maori music CDs. So actually in quite a few places, especially in Rotorua, you can get some CDs of Maori music, which is always a cool idea.
Next up we have New Zealand film DVDs. So for, again, that movie buff in your life, there are some New Zealand movies that were made entirely in New Zealand. We do have a list of them on nzpocketguide.com if you want some inspiration. But yeah, picking up some DVDs of something that was completely filmed and made in New Zealand is another great gift.
Indeed. And so let's wrap up number 50 with travel guides. You'll be surprised by the amount of people that actually email us and ask us if we have a printed version of the guide because they want to take it as a keepsake to remember their trip to New Zealand. We don't, but there are a lot of other travel guides that you can get. And if you want to just kind of like browse like what you've been and learn fun facts about places that you've been, that could be a cool idea for a souvenir. That's more for yourself though, more than to somebody else. Laura, in this section, what's your favorite?
I think cookbooks is a good idea. That's something most people are doing, is making their own food. So it's usually a gift that applies to the most amount of people. So yeah, it's a great idea to bring New Zealand back to the home.
All right, we're at 50. We have 50 more ideas coming up very soon.
And we are halfway through the list.
Yes.
We're about to get onto item number 51.
Yes. All right, so let's move on to the next batch. And so the next batch of them are going to be collectibles and another kind of collectible miscellaneous. So here's the things for the collector in your family. Definitely.
Yeah, starting with 51 New Zealand stamps. So yeah, every country has their own sort of like collection of stamps, New Zealand inspired stamps. If you go to New Zealand post offices, you can get collectible stamps. So yeah, there's a lot of options there.
If I'm correct, the hobby of collecting coins is numismaty or something like that.
Yeah,
I think
something like that.
Stamps is philately, so. Numismaty, if you have somebody that collects coins, bring back some New Zealand coins. You know what? Bring your spare change back and you may make a numismatic happy.
Another item to bring home to your family is the Kiwi bird plush toy. So, of course, if you've got someone who likes to snuggle with a little plush toy, then there's plenty in the form of Kiwi birds in particular. So
yeah, and you can get them from local charities. So we bought this one, and it supports Save the Kiwi, the local kind of charity that try to
Save the kiwi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is obviously Lord of the Ring memorabilia. So if you have somebody that collects, like for example, like cut out of film, you know, like those film things where you can have like a one frame of a film on film framed. All that makes sense technically. But yeah, anyway, if you have somebody that collects these kind of things, you can get that in New Zealand.
Local craft beer cans and bottles. So if you want to...
Or coasters. Some people also collect coasters as
yeah.
well.
So basically memorabilia to do with craft beer in New Zealand. So yeah, there's lots of different brands. If there was a brand that you thought was really awesome, you can sort of bring their sort of adjacent memorabilia back home.
Some people collect keychains. I used to collect keychains when I was young. I probably stopped at like 25, but yeah, some people collect keychains. So yeah, a New Zealand themed keychain can be quite cool.
Yeah. Next on the list is postcards. So yeah, you can find postcards in any gift shop in many places in New Zealand. So yeah, having a nice old-fashioned postcard to send in the mail makes a nice surprise for your friends and family.
Yeah, I know. And when was the last time you received a postcard from a genuine person you knew? You know, it becomes a lost art.
It is.
Actually, that's one of the perks you can get on Patreon if you join us on Patreon. Here you go. That's a segue.
Yeah.
That works. Link below. Okay, some people collect calendars. I actually learned that there is like an actual active community of people collecting calendars.
Oh, well,
which like
that's
physical
great.
calendars, like not on your phone. I'm boggled.
Hang that up on your wall.
So how about a New Zealand calendar?
Next up, we have tea towels. So this is a nice, easy thing to travel with you back home. Folds up nice and small, and yeah, they're either a nice collectible you can keep sort of clean on the side, or you can use them. It's very practical too.
Indeed. And last for this section is fridge magnet. There is always someone in the family that has their fridge covered with magnet.
Yes.
You need to add one to that. Bring them a fridge magnet.
I would like to add one more bonus one to
Yeah.
the list. Is thimbles. So,
Wow,
you can...
or shot glasses.
shot
Some people
glasses
do
too.
that. Oh my god, 2 more to the list.
Yeah, they're out on the thing.
You're right, 100 wasn't enough, Laura. Let me just add
and
some more.
usually, yeah, you can have like printed, obviously in the different countries that you've been to. So thimbles, shot glasses, that sort of thing, you can also get in New Zealand.
Commemorative teaspoons are also a thing that people
yep,
get as
yep.
well. Yeah. So yeah, I started diving into like what people collect, and you can genuinely not stop. Oh, that dog is very cute as well.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So what's our favorite on that section, Laura? Before we move on.
I think the favorite, personally, because I've done this myself, is postcards.
Yeah.
So when I first arrived in New Zealand and I was traveling through the country, I was sending postcards from various different places to various different people back home, and yeah, I think they liked it. They did. They loved it.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next section, and this section, which is going to be 61 to 80, that's a double section right here, really, really long, whoa, and that's because it's wellness, personal care, and beauty, and we've got a lot of those kind of products in New Zealand. All right, let's get started with 61, Laura.
Okay, 61 on our list are natural skincare products. So to make it more on the New Zealand side, you can get Manuka honey-based skincare products, which are known for its antibacterial and healing benefits.
So it's great for all the skin types. Moving on, we have thermal mud products. So around the Aotearoa area, we have a lot of like famous thermal mud pools and etc. So you can get some like spa treatment samples, which are always a cool thing to bring.
Essential oils is next on the list. So get essential oils from plants endemic to New Zealand and smell New Zealand. Even
in your home.
In your home, yes.
Hopefully you don't have essential oil of what Rotorua smells like.
Yeah, try to get ones not based in Rotorua. You'll know when you visit.
Okay, we're joking, obviously. Herbal supplements. So something New Zealand has a lot of endemic plants which have a lot of really cool properties. I could do a whole videos about that, so I won't. But yeah, herbal supplements, good idea.
Next up, we have cultural or eco-friendly yoga mats. So
Yeah.
if you want yoga mats with perhaps a Maori-inspired design or something that's been made with sort of sustainable New Zealand materials, then you can get that also in New Zealand.
Indeed. So for the yogi in your family, if you don't want to go down the yoga mat route, that can be a little bulky, you could go for like some active wear, and we have some really cool brands like Icebreaker that do active wear made of merino wool.
Next up, we have massage oils. So if you want...
Granny wants a foot rub.
Yeah, if Granny wants a foot rub, then you are prepared to... That would make another sort of level of the product, the level of the gift is if you are the one giving the massage. If you can get massage oils that are taken from, infused with native New Zealand plants for, again, the sort of smell of New Zealand, the aroma of this beautiful country.
New Zealand is home to only one tea plantation called Geelong. Bring back some
Yeah.
tea from Geelong, New Zealand's unique tea plantation. It's next on the list.
Yes.
Done. That was number 68. Number 69, Laura.
A
funny number.
Aromatherapy products. So again, we've talked about the smells and the soothing scents of New Zealand. Particularly, you can go to a few lavender farms in New Zealand. There's one in Wanaka. There is one on the North Island. Near Taurumanui. So there's various lavender farms where you can get their sort of aromatherapy oils and all that sort of good stuff. So you can smell the good stuff.
So speaking of wellness, if you go to any of the local spa during your trip to New Zealand or any of the hot pool complexes and everything, they usually have their own set or their own line of spa and wellness kits. That's also a really cool idea to kind of bring that soothing experience from New Zealand back home.
Next up, we have Kawa Kawa balm. So
we use that often.
We do. We have some ourselves. So Kawa Kawa is, again, a native plant of New Zealand. You will see it on many different bushwalks as you are on your travels. And yeah, it is known for its skin remedies. So it's really good for the skin and is, said to have healing properties. Very good if you get sunburn, for instance, or just really good to sort of protect the skin or revitalize the skin.
Indeed. Speaking of the skin, so if you don't know what lanolin is a byproduct of the New Zealand wool industry, and that is actually really famous for being a great kind of moisturizer and skin protector. So using this byproduct, they're actually making a cream. So lanolin cream is a good present.
Next up, we have sea salt scrub. So
Scrub Granny.
Yeah. So this is good to exfoliate the skin.
Yeah, Granny wants a good scrub.
Why do you want to scrub and foot rub your granny so much? So New Zealand's waters, there are different sort of salt mining places, so you can get salt water scrub from New Zealand.
Okay, so a secret of the New Zealand forest is that the rimu trees are very oily and therefore very good for your skin. They're extremely hydrating and rejuvenating. So rimu oil is a great idea.
Bee venom products is next on the list. So if you want to maybe try out what they say is the anti-aging secrets of bee venom products.
Stick your head in a beehive.
Oh, maybe don't do that. Yeah, I guess the swelling gets rid of the wrinkles instantly. So there are certain New Zealand bee venom products. Sorry, that's really hard to say. It's kind of like a tongue twister. You can also find those in New Zealand gift stores.
Okay, this next product is apparently very popular, but I think it's pure tosh, like a lot of the products in this list. Thermal water spray. So use the water from those thermal sources that we have in New Zealand to hydrate and refresh your skin.
Next up, we have natural lip balm. So
that we use.
If you want to get sort of beeswax or manuka honey infused lip balms, that sort of thing, that exists, and it is good for sort of just keeping the lips moist and pouty and looking awesome.
So we have a lot of micro kind of hair care companies in New Zealand that use local ingredients to make their hair care products. So when you find some of them, usually at local markets and everything, that's usually makes for a really fun gift.
Next up, we have facial masks. In particular, in New Zealand, if you get sort of geothermal mud clay masks, they're a very popular thing in New Zealand.
And we're going to wrap up the wellness section with number 80, and it's handmade soap. So pretty much in any small town in New Zealand, they have like a weekly market, and there's always that hippie lady that had a midlife crisis and that makes her own homemade soap. Buy it from her and buy something
Make
with
her
Manika
day.
honey. Yeah, make her day.
Make her day, make your gift receiver's day,
Yeah.
make your own day.
So genuinely, that's the kind of soap that we do use actually. So yeah, they're pretty cool. They smell very
It
good.
tastes great.
All right, Laura, what's your favorite on that list of 20?
My favourite would be Kawa Kawa Balm
Yeah.
because it is very much like it's a very, very New Zealand thing.
It's very versatile as well.
It's
so
very
we use it a lot.
versatile. You can use it for a lot of different skin situations.
So as I continue making that bone necklace almost perfection, like I mean, I'm almost done
Wow,
right now, guys.
gosh, you must be a professional.
I know, what an amazing boy. Let's move on to 10 more, and this time the theme is the One Ring. I wonder what it is all about. Okay, start us up with number 81.
Number 81 is the One Ring. You can get replicas of the One Ring.
I would like the real thing, please.
No.
I want to reel them all.
Well, you can give it a go with the replicas. They might work. So Lord of the Rings, what the actual One Ring jewelers is based in Nelson, and they are
Jen
Hansen
Yeah.
Jewelers there in Nelson, and that's where they do replicas in all different sizes. You can get a jumbo one, you can get
Because if you
tiny
didn't know, when
ones.
they were doing some of the close-up shop, they actually made for the movie like much larger kind of version of that ring,
Yeah.
and so you can get those that they're basically replicas of the prop.
Yeah, so yeah, you can buy the One Ring from the official jewelers that they used in the Lord of the Rings, based in Nelson.
What's the price for the actual proper one that allow you to rule over all like Middle Earth? Like how much does it cost to take over the world, basically?
Usually your soul,
Okay.
and
Oh,
it'll be
fine.
put into a tower, and you will then therefore become like an eye, and you will look over your land.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
I'll
okay
take
then,
that.
if you're happy with that.
Nice. Okay, number 82 on the list, we have a Middle Earth map. So I hinted at that before when I talked about a different kind of New Zealand map. But you can get a map of Middle Earth, or you can make a map of New Zealand in Middle Earth style as well. So there is some cool variation there.
Next up, we have Hobbit feet slippers. So, as you probably well know, the hobbits have large feet. If you want to mimic that yourself, if you've always dreamed of being a hobbit, then get yourself some footy slippers, which are hobbit feet. They're nice and big and hairy.
Yeah. Okay, one of those kind of like cinema kind of a prop or kind of like cool memorabilia to get, but that still look pretty classy are those elven brooch. And so get yourself an elven brooch that in pretty much you can get them in Hobbiton, you can get them at Weta Studios, you can get them in a few souvenir shops as well. It's really cool. It does look really nice, and also it's something you actually would wear if you're a brooch wearer. But yeah, it's something you would wear that wouldn't be like kind of like, oh well, nerd. It's just kind of like, it looks cool.
Yeah, I actually bought one of those for my brother, as
Oh,
he was
yeah?
a big Lord of the Rings fan.
Nice.
So yeah, moving on from classy to not so classy.
Yeah.
Go all out and get yourself Gandalf's staff.
For that lower limb of yours.
But,
She walks around with her staff.
and I mean, I don't know how you're gonna fit that in your suitcase, so you're probably going to have to use it to carry it from New Zealand onto
Yeah.
the plane back home. So yeah, huge Gandalf staff replica, beautifully crafted, beautifully shaped. You can get, well, that's the Gandalf the white one is looking pretty nice, or you can get the wretched old one of Gandalf the grey. So go whichever way you want.
Yeah, and don't try to just bring a stick from New Zealand and pretend that was Gandalf's staff
Or try
back
it.
home. Because biosecurity back home may stop you and tell you that you shall not pass with that stick. So, here you go. Wow, that was long and winded. All right, next up, there is some like full set of like kind of like miniature set of like scenes from the Lord of the Rings that you can get. And so one of the really cool one, and you can Google it if you want, is a Helm's Deep battle set that you can get. So yeah, you could get a full like little kind of diorama battle set, which is quite cool.
Cool. Next up, we have another wearable item, which is Arwen's Even Star Pendant. So this is the nice little necklace that is given in the Fellowship of the Ring. Anyway, it doesn't matter the details. It's yeah.
We lost her.
It's just like that nice sort of spiral necklace, and you can get different sort of version, like replicas of that, and it's quite a pretty necklace.
Cool. So I was hinting at little dioramas. There is also a lot of like little figurines, and usually like really cool looking, especially from like the Weta workshop. They make stunning figurines. So you can get figurines of pretty much all of the Lord of the Rings characters. I suggest Gollum because he's the most striking.
Yeah, another figurine that's really cool to get is the Entry Beard figurine. So
they're really unique as well.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So same thing. Usually hand painted from the Weta workshop is as sort of authentic as you can get.
Christina in the live chat knows that one. Fellowship cloak. You can get yourself a cloak from the Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh yes.
Which is quite cool, and get that early in your trip so you can wear it in some of the Lord of the Rings location throughout your trip. Alright, so that's 10 Lord of the Rings souvenirs. There is many more. I mean, they're juicing that IP as much as they can. So there is many more, but that's 10 ideas that we have for you. We have the last 10 coming up right soon, and those are going to be the gag souvenirs. So we'll have a bit of a giggle. That's a bit of a throwaway, those last 10 ones. I won't lie. So the last 10 for today's are the New Zealand gag souvenirs, the throwaway gift, the silliness, the thing that were just made to make you smile in the souvenir shop, and that I don't know of anyone ever buying those things. Laura, take it away with number 91.
So I was hinting at some strange possum related items, and the first weird possum item would be possum nipple warmers. So for that person in your life
that always has cold nipples,
get them some nice fluffy nipple warmers. They're a thing you can actually find in New Zealand.
And for the men in your life, there is also possum willy warmers.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll let you picture what they look like, or Google what they look like.
Or you'll just see
Save
them...
search on, save search on, save search on.
Yeah, and you will just see them in a lot of different gift stores around the country.
Yeah. Alright, so another one of the gag gift, I hinted at it before, Marmite. Bring Marmite to your friend and tell them it's delicious. Put them on their toast, ruin their day.
Next up, we have sheep's droppings chocolate. So you can get various different animal droppings, actually, in chocolate form.
Yes,
at gift
I
stores.
don't know why that's a thing.
There's sheep, there's pukeko poo, there is
kiwi
poo. Yeah, so, I mean, at least it's chocolate. I would still eat it.
Yeah.
I don't care what shape it is.
You'll eat anything.
Yeah.
You don't even care if it's chocolate.
I was waiting for you to say that. Even real poo.
Alright, number 94 is any of those jokes t-shirts like I survived the skywalk, my friend went to New Zealand and all I got is this lousy t-shirt, I chickened out from the bungee, I chickened out for the skydive, somebody threw me out of a perfectly good airplane. Any of those kind of like t-shirts, which I definitely don't know all of them, but yeah, all those. Moving on.
It's
Laura's.
Apparently, I'm taking all the poop ones. Next up, we have kiwi bird poop soap. So, clean up with a laugh using kiwi bird poop soap. Surprisingly,
all those products, I actually did find them, right? I just want to put that out.
Surprisingly pleasant and a great conversation starter.
Who are you conversing with when you wash yourself in the shower naked with your kiwi poop?
Hey, I'd see you noticed my kiwi poop shaped soap. Well, let me tell you about my recent trip to New Zealand.
But first, what are you doing in my shower?
So yeah, I mean, fun.
I guess the conversation starter is when you're offering it to the people.
Yeah.
Not when you're showering, but I think I like to picture myself in a different way. Okay, faux sheepskin flip-flop. So yeah, there are some flip-flop with actually like sheep wool on top that makes your feet look like little sheep. So that's funny.
Yeah, next up we have a Jandal bottle opener. We actually do have a Jandal
Yeah, I know. That's something that people generally buy you all the time.
Yeah, so it's a bottle opener.
That's not the first one I've had. That's the second one. Yeah, people keep buying me those things.
It's a bottle opener shaped like a flip-flop, a jandal, a thong, however you want to call that little sandal thing.
Okay, something that is bound to give you a good giggle is a dance instruction kit for like the haka. So there are some kits where you either have tiles that you place in front of you and you need to do the action kind of in order, or they are like booklets that you can do, and it's always fun. You know, you bring that back home, you do that with your friend. It's a fun gag gift.
Next up, we have a giant kiwi bird costume. This is something that Robin has actually adorned himself.
I have.
You could dress up as a giant kiwi bird for, I don't know, maybe Halloween or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the joke is really on yourself when you have to check that in and pay for that extra bag.
Yeah.
And finally, number 100 is that certificate. It's not a gift for yourself, but that's a certificate of insanity that you can get when you have done a bungee jumping in New Zealand. They give you like a little certificate that makes you certifiedly insane. That's always fun to frame that in the office cubicle, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. One day I'll crack. All right. What's your favorite on this list?
Well, surprisingly, it's not poop related. I think my personal favorite, is the possum nipple. Robin did write that down for me to say, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But
and
what was your favourite, Robin?
Oh no, it's definitely...
Is it the possum willy warmer?
Oh, it's definitely showering myself with some kiwi poop and asking that random stranger, hey, how about that conversation starter right here? Hey, also, what are you doing in my shower room?
Anyway, that was fun just to talk about
Yeah.
it. Whether we buy them or not, I don't know.
I thought it was just a funny way to finish our 100 list. Anyway, all right. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Link in the description below if you want a recap of all that. If you want a link to know where to buy that nipple warmer that Laura is such a fan of. In the video notes in the show notes.